Well, the people in power, whether red or blue, they could not care less about Texas, me and you. They created this give me country that don't value hard work. For a Texan to survive, all we need are some seeds and dirt. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Got to save your country before it's long gone. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Got to save your country before it's long gone. We believe in family and we value our community. Gladly lend a helping hand to a neighbor in need. And we don't believe that government should provide for all of society's needs. No, it's the pride of a Texan to give to others voluntarily. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Gotta save your country before it's long gone. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Gotta save your country before it's long gone. Our tax dollars and they love our natural resources. They don't want to see us driving trucks, they'd rather see us riding horses. And now they want to ban our guns, you know, especially the ones that look scary. But may I remind you of the Gonzales Cannon and the Alamo heroes we buried. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Got to save our country before it's long gone. Don't you hear your call? Got to save our country before it's long gone. This last verse is straight from the Texas Constitution, Article 1, Section 1 and 2. Look it up. Texas is an independent state, yet presently we suffer. We no longer possess the right to locally self-govern. And now it's time as a people in which all political power is inherent. And in such manner we find expedient, we reform or abolish our government. I said, Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Got to save your country before it's long gone. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Got to save your country before it's long gone.
Oops. I was taking a drink of coffee because it's coffee talk, right? Oh, wow. Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. For those of you who do not know, I'm Daniel Miller, president of the Texas Nationalist Movement, and it is time for my midweek break where I get another cup of coffee, but instead of just going back to work, I take a break and visit with you, answer your questions, talk about what's on my mind, decompress a bit, right? We all need that midweek decompress. And boy, tonight is going to be a bit of a humdinger. Not going to undersell it because it's going to be it's going to be a bit of a barn burner. I will confess to you, my friends, it has been a bit of a week. Yeah, it's been a bit of a week. That being said, we're going to have a great amount of time tonight. We'll get to whatever questions we can get to. We'll make it work somehow. So grab your cup of coffee, and we'll get started. By the way, yeah, let's do the housekeeping first, right? So those of you that are joining us on either of the YouTube channels, please be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. That way you'll know every time we post a new video or go live. And we're getting a lot of those archives knocked out, so you make sure you do that. Additionally, chat is active on both of those, and lo and behold, guess what has happened? You're not going to believe this. YouTube readmitted us back into the partner program, right? So what does that mean? That means Super Chat, I believe, is active again. I don't understand it. I just simply don't understand. But that said, because chat is active, if you have any questions tonight, be sure to drop them in the chat, and they aggregate over here on the side of the screen, actually right there as I'm looking at it. And Kara's over there. She is getting all of these questions. She's going through the chat. If you have questions that are not answered on our website at texitnow.org, she's throwing those in there, and I'll get to them as I can. Additionally, if you are watching on any of the Facebook pages, because I think we're on like a slew of them now, be sure to drop your questions in the comments, and they go to the same place. Twitter, it doesn't work that way, but please do the retweet. Do all the things that you have to do on social media to help us spread the word. Because Lord knows if we leave it up to mainstream media, they will not, right? So all political power is inherent in the people. Well, apparently that includes the flow of information. So if it's going to be, it's up to us, right? So be sure you do all the social media things to beat the algorithm, but more importantly, tell your friends, right? Get on the horn, drop a text message, send a link, do whatever you got to do. Okay. Now, hello to the people that are watching on the Roku app. I get emails from folks that are tuning in regularly, watching it live on the Roku app on their TV or on the TNM app on their phone. So, hello to all you guys as well. We won't be able to do it on Roku, but I think we're going to be able to get chat active on the mobile app for the video stream. We're working on it, along with a whole lot of other things. We'll keep you posted. Obviously, when it launches, we won't keep it a secret, I promise. All right, as you can tell, look, I'm still fully suited up. I literally just got off of an interview with Right American Media. Right before this, I had enough time to go get a cup of coffee, stretch the legs a bit, and then I am back at it. So here we are, and that will be airing tomorrow. We'll be sure to get links out there, and I think it's going to be 5 Pacific, so it'll be 3 here, right? Also, let me go ahead and I want to thank all of you that have been participating in these new webinars that we're doing. Very excited. Of course, a big thank you to also to all of our panelists that participated. The first night, Monday night, we did one on global exit in the Americas. And then last night, we did one on Crypto 101. And I got to tell you, it's been, the feedback has been phenomenal. Not just from the people who participate, but from the panelists too. They enjoyed being able to share what they have to say with you guys, and just looking forward to announcing the next ones that we're getting ready to do. So be watching for that. Go to tnm.me/events. And you'll be able to see all of the stuff that's on the calendar, right? Whether it's webinars, whether it's meetups, outreach events, whatever it is, my road schedule, it's all there. And it's a great opportunity for you to plug in. And look, if there's nothing in your area, right, there's one way to remedy that: become a local coordinator. That's what you got to do. Help us organize your town. Pretty simple. And then there will be meetings in your town. Easy enough to do. And man, we crossed a pretty important threshold, right? We are, as of the tail end of last week, we crossed over 50 local groups. 50. So that means that in 50 cities throughout Texas, there is a Texas nationalist movement leader there that's organizing, that's holding meetings, that's rounding up volunteers, and I fully expect we're gonna don't hold me to this, but I think we're gonna lap it. I still think by the end of the year, uh, probably before the end of the year, the way this is looking, we will have a larger field organization than either major political party. It's my prediction, and we're well on track to do that. So be looking for that. All right. Before I rip into this, excuse me, I will remind you, post your questions in chat. Additionally, if you would like to submit a question via email, you can do that at coffeetalk@thetnm.org. And if you look at the little crawler there at the bottom, literally right below me right now, it shows it coffeetalk@thetnm.org. I've already got some questions here. I've already got some questions coming in via chat, and it's going to be a fun one. And trust me, when I start laying out what I got to lay out for you tonight, I suspect a lot more questions. So let's get down to it. So when I said it's been a bit of a week, I wasn't kidding. Okay. Um, I'm gonna have to give you a little background on this if it's gonna make sense, right? So for those of you who do not know, I don't earn a living off of the TNM. I don't have a salary. I don't do any of that. That's not how I earn. In fact, how I earn is I work as a technology consultant. That makes up about 98% of my take home pay, right? And then I've got 2% that comes in, if I'm lucky, from selling tchotchkes off my website, right? So when you guys buy coffee mugs or you buy books from my personal website, not the TNM, but from my personal website, that's kind of the rest of it, right? So just like you, I'm out there every day. Many of you are entrepreneurs. You know how the entrepreneurial game is. It is feast or famine. And in the tech game, pretty much with what I do, it is that cycle can get real, real dicey sometimes, right? But that's what I do, and I have been involved in technology since the 1990s. I can remember when I lived in Longview. I can remember driving to Dallas almost every day for either meetings, trying to make things happen, or when I first started out, buying computer parts and assembling them and selling them out of my house. I say a house. That's a loose a loose description. The loosest definition of house fits where I live. I lived in a duplex in a pretty questionable neighborhood. But look, that's what I did. I started grinding, right? And that's what I fell back on when. Long story. I'm not going to get into all that for you, but you understand. I started out literally in the living room of a duplex and got involved in technology and have been involved in technology ever since, with the exception of once um, managing a newspaper, which that's a whole other story. But by and large, I have been either self-employed or work for other people, right? For a little stretch of time, a couple of years there after my dad passed, I worked for a couple of different companies, but it's all been technology, right? So that's what I do. I consult. I deal with startups or small mom and pops or medium-sized businesses. That's my thing. Okay. So if you've been to my website, you've seen. You go to danielomiller.com, you'll see I've got, there's all my little tchotchkes, and it's pretty much dedicated to that. And everything else is all about RFT Media, right? So if you go to rftmedia.com, you'll see there's literally a form. And that's what I do is I just do word of mouth, right? I do, you basically have to be referred, right? We don't do a lot of walk-ins. Okay. So that being said, obviously being in the technology business, people companies, right? Small, medium-sized companies, typically the ones we deal with, pay with credit cards. So, and the fact that I, got a little merch on my website, I got to process credit cards and have literally done so for a very long time. Well, that is until this week, when yours truly woke up to this in his email box. Stripe, who is a credit card processing company, which is used by millions upon millions of businesses. I think the last statistic was that 90% of consumers have bought from a company that processes on Stripe. So pretty common, but here it is. It says, "Dear hi Daniel." I notice it's not even a dear Daniel, right? It's a hi Daniel, like we're on a first name basis. We're writing to inform you that we have determined your business, Daniel Miller, is in violation of the Stripe Services Agreement. Okay, now remember, been processing with these guys, accepting credit cards for a very long time, right? It's not something recent, right? So tchotchkes, billing clients for consulting, all those sorts of things, right? So all of a sudden now, I'm in violation of their agreement. We are unable to accept payments for okay. Can we talk for a second about how bad the grammar is in this? How it literally makes no sense. We are unable to accept payments for accepting charitable or political donations as mentioned on our restricted businesses list. We're applying a notice period of 14 days before taking action on your account. Until October the 7th, you can continue processing normally, but after this date, your account will be closed and you will no longer be able to accept payments. So, restricted business is what they're saying. So, apparently on my website, there's something on their restricted businesses list. So, what did I do? Right? There was a button to appeal, but before I appealed, I'm being a good person. I'm looking to see what possibly it is that I could have done. Maybe they changed their terms of service. I don't know. So I go to their website and I pull up their document on, let me zoom on this for you guys. There we go. Hang on. Let's do it this way. We're going to share it a little bit differently for you guys so you'll be able to see it better. Because I want to make absolutely sure you guys get a good gander at this, right? So here it is. Here is the prohibited and restricted businesses. Now, remember, they said I was a restricted business, not a prohibited business, right? But I'm reading the whole thing, right? So literally none of them, right? Not in a jurisdiction deemed high risk like Cuba, Iran, North Korea, Syria. Hey, by the way, does that sound familiar to any of you guys? Like security question, right? But you go down here, prohibited businesses, nothing there, no illegal products or services, nothing that infringes on IP, no pyramid schemes, nothing, no adult stuff, no legal services, right? No gambling, no weed, no misuse, right? So I get down here to the section, because I don't live in any of these countries, but I get down here to the section restricted businesses, where they specifically said that it was restricted businesses. And remember what it was they said, right? Let's go back. What did they say? They said charitable or political donations. So I don't take either of those on my business website or my personal website. I don't take charitable contributions or political contributions. Have not been a candidate for office, and when I was, I didn't process through them anyway for campaign contributions. So, I go here and look at restricted businesses, and I'm looking. No financial products or services, no government services, no pharmaceuticals, no tobacco, no others. Don't know what others is, right? But none of that. And then you go down here to the business that can pose an elevated financial risk. None of these things. None of these things. Don't do any of this stuff on my website, right? So I go and I file an appeal. And, if you go look at my website, you're going to see it's about Texit. It's about Texit the book. It's articles that I've written. It's the cups and mugs and shirts and things like that, right? But it's all about Texas stuff, right? So I appeal, and then lo and behold, this is what I get almost immediately. Now, they told me it's going to take a day or two, but it literally took them about an hour. They said, thank you for providing additional information about your business. Unfortunately, following additional review, we're still unable to support your business as it falls under one of our restricted businesses categories, right? And then they say, specifically, we are unable to accept payments for accepting charitable or political donations, as mentioned on our restricted businesses list, which, if you will recall, is not even listed on their restricted businesses list. In fact, not only does it not exist on my site, it does not exist in the documentation as they listed. So I have to ask myself, what is it, and why are they saying political, right? What is it about me and my site that they don't want me to process credit cards? They don't want me to be able to feed my family, pay my bills, right? Well, I started thinking back to something that had happened last week or week before last, where PayPal in the UK had decided that they no longer wanted an organization called the Free Speech Union to process transactions. That you couldn't make contributions to the Free Speech Union. PayPal UK, now they've since reinstated them because basically all hell broke loose. But they have recently shown a willingness, the establishment, to utilize financial warfare, right? And our organization's large. They're not gunning for all of you. They just figured, look, we'll just cut the head off the snake. But here's what they don't understand. I'll figure out some other way to process credit cards, right? All they're doing is they're proving us right. They're proving us right that when the corporations and specifically the financial technology companies decide to go woke, and they start messing with your money, that's just that to them is a legitimate avenue of warfare. They would rather see you starve, or at least me, than have the people of Texas engage in the right of self-government. And you could say, well, this is this was probably some mistake. Well, not really, because you see, I responded to that notification, and I heard back, and I said, I want to escalate this process. This seems very targeted, seems very specific. You mentioned political. There's nothing on my site, nothing on your list, but you are the one who mentioned political, not me, right? Perfect chargeback rate. I'm the best customer they could possibly have. So this is what I get back. Hi there. We're not even on a first name basis anymore. We're currently reviewing everything with our team and we'll be in touch shortly. In the meantime, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. We'd be happy to help. And that was from Amanda. Well, I didn't hear from Amanda for a bit. So I sent another email, said, hey, where are we at on this? Here's the response. Thank you for providing additional information about your business. Unfortunately, following an additional review of your account, we're still unable to support your business as it falls under one of our restricted businesses categories. We're sorry we can't be of more help, but these restrictions are firm. Well, Lord have mercy. Those restrictions are firm. In fact, they are so firm, they do not appear on the document anywhere. But they're the ones who said what it was. They said in their email. So I guess at this point, they are so crapping their britches over where we're headed, how much steam we're getting. Somebody somewhere decided, you know what? We're going to go after this dude. We're going to go after him. Because if we make him knuckle under, right? We crush him. We keep him from putting food on his table, paying his bills. Then it's going to go away. But here's what they don't understand. I am not the Texas Nationalist movement. I am in the Texas Nationalist movement, but I am not the Texas Nationalist movement, right? So I have been prepared for this and endured far worse than this kind of crap. for the 26 years I've done this. I mean, if literally, if this is the best they got, then we've already won, because this ain't crap. This ain't stink. They can't do any. If this is literally all they got, then there's no chance in the world. Okay, yeah, what do? They inconvenience me. Yeah, I don't know how my clients are going to pay me yet. They've really kind of upset the apple cart over here, but I don't care, because any inconvenience that I'm experiencing is outweighed by the joy that I am experiencing, and that we are causing them so much grief that this is what they decided to do. This is it. I mean, is this their play, or is this the opening salvo? Because either way, it's weak. It is a 5-gallon bucket of weak sauce. So if this is all you got, bring it on. I'll go to my clients. I'll get them to cut me checks. Those things still work, right? I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. But if this is all they got, then praise be to God, because let me tell you something. We're about to go through that place like crap through a goose. They have never seen anything. If that's all they got, if that's the best they got, then they have never seen anything like the juggernaut that is headed at them. This Texas train is moving throttle wide open. Throttle wide open. And the last place they need to be is on the tracks. They better get out of the way, because this ain't going to stop us. There's no way in the world this would ever stop us. They ain't going to stop me. I can still be a tech consultant. I'll still get my business done. Yeah, maybe it'll be inconvenient for a couple of weeks. I won't sell some coffee mugs or some T-shirts. So what? I don't care. I don't care. What I care about is the fact that they have got their undies in such a bundle that they're going to try to pull that cancel culture bull crap on me, and they're going to come up bupkis. They're going to come up with the big goose egg, right? Because they ain't never seen anything like this. That never, ever, ever have they ever seen anything like this. So if you got it, bring it. That's all I'm going to say. Because, the fact is that we're going to stop doing business. I rep. The thing is, I consult with a whole lot of different companies, a whole lot of entities on the tech side that also take credit cards. And guess what? My next call probably going to be over there to Hutch Hutchison, our one of our district directors who works for a credit card processing company. Be like, hey, dude, let's start having some conversations, right? I would collect pennies that fell out of people's pockets in the Walmart parking lot before I would do business with those dipsticks again, right? Whatever it takes. Now, who knows? Maybe this thing is like so many others. When people try to screw us and we raise holy hell and they back down, maybe they're going to back down. But, this is not going to be, forgive and forget for us. We're in crunch time. And fact of the matter is they didn't go after the TNM because they knew what kind of a crap storm that would they know the type of crap storm that would create. Because if they go after the TNM, it's Katie bar the door. But instead, they tried the coward chicken crap move and came after me. And so what? Bring it. I mean, if you literally, if you think this is the worst thing that anyone has ever done to me for standing up for Texas independence, you got to get a clue. You really do. So anyway, I will keep you posted on that. I'll keep you posted, let you know what's happening with that deal. But I figured you should know, right? That let me take the blows, right? If they're coming at me, they're not coming at you, right? So let me take it. I'll take it. So what I've done for a very long time, I'll take it, and I'll be happy about it. I'll be smiling the whole time. Okay. All right. Before I break off into the news about our illustrious lieutenant governor, let me check the questions really quick and see what we got. Wow, man, we got a bunch. So I tell you what, let me hit the Dan Patrick thing real quick, and then let me hit the Dan Patrick thing, and then I'll machine gun out some answers to these questions, because I've got some via email, and I've got some over here in chat, and I want to try to get to as many of them as possible. So let's get down to brass tacks. Okay, so many of you have heard, maybe not, that Dan Patrick skinned a bus and has been doing this tour around Texas to, for what, I don't know, because the pictures that I see from all of the events are, well, the pictures that I see him posting on social media are either him at someone else's event that, you know, he just happened to bum rush, or at these random places throughout Texas where they push people up next to him, you know, 2 or 3 people, and they take a picture, and it looks kind of like a hostage situation, right? Like there's guys with AK-47s off to the side pointed at them, like, you know, they don't know who he is, right? So whatever. I'm not trying to dump on Dan over that, right? I've been to some low turnout events in my life, although I will say that our events are drawing more than his. Just saying, pretty much everywhere we go, we're out drawing him. So work that one through. Anyway, so he's on this bus tour, and where he's going in advance has been kind of hush hush, right? Doesn't post a schedule ahead of time, none of that. Kind of like it was during the primaries, right? Where he kind of hid from everybody, wouldn't participate in candidate forums, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So, you know, our constituents, right, the Texiteers, would like to go and be seen by him so he knows that we're here, right? Because 66% of likely voters in the Survey USA poll, if that didn't show him, right, if the 2 planks on the party platform didn't show him, then having a warm body. So it just so happens we found out that he was going to be in Decatur last night. And our folks over there, Paul Hausman, who's the local coordinator in Decatur, and of course our district director over there, Chris Milton, got together a welcoming committee, right? Got some volunteers together. Talked to Paul last night. Paul estimated how many of our people were in the crowd there, because it was a get out the candidate event, a get out the vote event for candidates. So, you know, he wasn't the only person there, but there was a chunk of people there, right? It was where they had a up there in Decatur at that Decatur Civic Center, Convention Center, whatever it is. Anyway, that's beside the point. But we had a good contingent there. We were very visible. And thank you to the folks there at the Wise County Republican Party for allowing us to get a table at the event at the last minute. Very, very appreciative to those folks over there. So during the event, there was an opportunity to ask Dan Patrick questions. Again, a bit of a shocker because he's not known for that sort of thing. And of course, as you might imagine, the Texit question came up. One of our people asked, just like we have been asking all the way through the primaries, right? Every time there was a forum, the question got asked. Well, it got asked again. And so I'm going to play you this clip, and then we're going to discuss.
The way I feel is the swamp in D.C. does not represent any of us.
Nope.
But you do, and Austin does. And if I come, I know I can.
Yes, sir.
You and my representative, Dan Austin. I just want to know, is the legislature going to allow us to vote a referendum on the Texas session, this next session?
You know, so the answer to that is that's not going to happen, I don't think, for a couple of reasons. I don't know what the future of America is or the future of the world is. I don't know what 50, 100 years, 150 years looks like. But so many people like yourself have served and died for this country. I want to preserve our nation. I just want to win it back. I want to win it back. Now, I will tell you, when I saw that California had a secession movement as well, I chipped in $10. I mean, I was ready to get rid of it, okay? Can you imagine? A world without California would be a day with sunshine every day. Next question.
Okay, so I have some things. I have some things. So if you could not make out the question was, you know, and there was a setup to it, and yeah, granted the audio is not superb or stellar at the very beginning. But the question is, are we going to see the Texas secession issue in the legislature this session? And Dan Patrick said, well, you heard what he said, but then he qualified it with, I don't think. So he didn't give a hard no, and he left wiggle room, which is pretty typical for politicians, right? But I will tell you, interestingly enough, Dan Patrick a year ago would have been very vocal that it was never going to happen. Now, granted, his stated intention of not respecting the Republican Party platform, right? The two planks calling for a Texas vote, one in the next session, and his ignoring Article 1, Section 2. Those are egregious things, right? And I think voters should contemplate those things, right? I'm not telling you to not vote for Dan Patrick, but I'm telling you that between now and Election Day, you need to hold Dan Patrick's feet to the fire, because this is what he said. He said he doesn't see it. He doesn't think. Well, it's time to help him think differently, right? What have I been saying? I said it at the Cypress Tea Party. I said it at training. I've been saying it before. If politicians will sacrifice principle for political expediency, then you have to make the Texas issue politically expedient. And what that means is you need to take that I don't think that he says, and you need to make him think differently. And you do that by repeatedly blowing this issue up where he's at. So what I'm telling you is, wherever he is, wherever these electeds are, and I talked about this last week, wherever they are, you got to be like Patrick, not Dan Patrick, but the other Patrick who asked the question. You got to be like Patrick. You got to ask the question and do it over and over and over, just like we did during the primaries, right? You guys mercilessly hounded these guys at their town hall meetings and campaign events and ask the question publicly and get it on record, right? Get it recorded, get it on record. This is how we win. So, yeah, Dan Patrick didn't give a rousing endorsement to Texas. So what? Did you expect him to? I mean, we didn't get property tax abolition. We didn't get property tax abolished. We didn't get the things done for the border that we need to get. All the things we talked about back during the primary, literally the things why I ran against him, the two issues that he ran on when he ran for lieutenant governor, he never got done. Okay, so, did you expect them to roll over? No, they're not going to roll over. You got to get up in their ear. Now, here's the other thing too. So those of you who participated in the Global Exit webinar Monday night know that we actually had the leader from the Cal Exit movement on the panel, right? Marcus. So when I saw this clip last night, I thought, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to call Marcus. So I called Marcus today and I said, Marcus, can you check your donor records to see if our lieutenant governor ever donated $10 to you guys? Now, obviously that probably would have stood out. Marcus was checking on it, and I expect an answer on it tomorrow. And I'm going to tell you what I expect the answer to be. I'm going to expect that Dan Patrick did not donate money to the Cal Exit movement like he said he did. He probably got up there and, made it as a chuckle line. But the fact of the matter is that if you think about his rationale, and this is where I want to take it back to. He said all the things, I don't see it happening. I don't think, blah, 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 for two reasons. His first reason, I can't tell the future. I don't know what the future holds. That's not a reason. That's just an admission. None of us do, right? So it's meaningless. And then the second thing is, I'd rather see California leave. Well, that doesn't alleviate our problem. That doesn't fix the problem. The federal government is the problem. The federal system is the problem, right? So he gave two answers, two reasons why he wants to deny you your inalienable right, neither of which apply or answer the question. Okay? So what that tells you is he has no solid, well thought out opposition as to why they should deny you, why he supports denying you the ability to vote on the thing, right? So all I'm going to do is tell you this: is that you gotta make this an issue for him, for Abbott, for all of these legislators between now and election day, and then you have to keep it up. Excuse me, because my friends, this is how we win. That exchange, we're going to have this posted on our YouTube channel. We'll get it all posted on social media. But that clip right there is going to circulate over and over and over. And it's going to circulate because you're going to help do it. We're going to make sure that it gets in as many hands as possible. And I'm still waiting. When Marcus rings me back and he tells me what I suspect he's going to tell me, then that's a whole other thing that needs to be addressed. But look, here's my word to those of you that saw that video clip and got kind of down in the mouth about it. Don't. He didn't tell you no. He told you that there's an opening in his mind because he left himself wiggle room. And then he told you that he has no well thought out opposition to it, which means that if you make it politically expedient, he will do as most of these folks do and jump in front of the parade. That's what he'll do. That he will come along, but it's going to take a lot of effort. There is no shortcuts, folks. There are none. I talk about it. I talk about in the book, I talk about political amateurism and I talk about short-term thinking. You need to take this video and understand it for what it is. Sure, we would have loved for that conversation to be like when Don Huffines was asked the question, or Alan West was asked the question, or Chad Prather was asked the question. We would have loved an answer like that. But understand, even the answers from them were not the same by the end of the campaign as they were at the beginning. It took time and consistent and steady and unrelenting pressure. You ask them, and then 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 you do it over and over again until they see your face in their sleep, until they wake up either probably in a cold sweat with the word Texit coming out of their mouths. That's how you have to do it. That's the only thing that works. So that's how we make it happen. I can't do it by myself, right? I can't. If I could wave a magic wand, I would, but I can't because that doesn't exist. We live in the real world, right? This is not the Harry Potter books. This is for all the marbles, folks. This is how we win. And it's going to take time and effort to get it done. And really and truly, it's going to be a measure of how bad you want it. Okay. Hey, look at this. Man, I'm running low. Hey, this is the mug that I got at Prasix. It's I don't know what this is, but this is great. And by the way, thank you. This hour brought to you by Angelo Watuski and the folks there at TNM Wahlberg who got me this coffee. I'm still drinking on it. And I appreciate it. So thank you very much. All right, folks. So you know what to do, right? I mean, if the woke corporations are not going to knuckle me under, and a video of Dan Patrick essentially exposing his chin is not going to do you in, then I think we're well on our way to victory. We got every opportunity in the world to win this thing. Got every opportunity. We just have to put in the work, put in the effort, and we got to get the job done. And we can't let any of this crap get to us, right? We go out there with a winner's mindset and we go win. We go win. And we don't let these little mealy mouth nonsense, Amanda over there at Stripe and, Dan Patrick at this event on stage. Look, I don't have any ill will against him. I don't have anything personal against him. All I want is an acknowledgement of the inalienable right that we have under Article 1, Section 2 to give us a Texit vote. That's it. Give us the vote. We want a free, fair vote on the Texit issue. And if no one supports it, guess what? You'll decimate the issue. You will send me to the House. Right? But if people do want it, they deserve to be heard. They deserve to have their political will shown, and they deserve action. They deserve that return to the right of self-government. Article 1, Section 2 is clear. There is no equivocation. There's none. We have an inalienable right to alter, reform, or abolish our government in such manner as we may think expedient. Inalienable. And it's the very least that these electeds could do. The very least. Because, after all, they do take an oath to that Constitution. So, all right. Let me get to some of these questions really quickly. Hey, a reminder before we get to these questions. We are, I think, 18 days away from the end of the Catalyst campaign. And if you have not been a part of that incredible journey, be sure you go check it out. TNM.me/catalyst. That's TNM.me/catalyst. Find out what the fundraising campaign is for, and find out all the cool things that you get for contributing to it. We've got a lot of great partners that have come alongside of us to give some really, really, really unique and special rewards for those of you who contribute to this campaign. So go check it out. Okay. It's question time, man. We ought to. It'd be fun if we did this like they do in the UK Parliament or Scottish Parliament, right? Question time, where people all stand up and and they ask a question, and then I got to stand up and answer it on the fly. Okay, here we go. This is from Texas Independence Now. President Miller. Oh, thank you. That's very formal. Should start utilizing the YouTube Shorts function. I look horrible in shorts. To spread the message of Texit. An example would be the famous, I know what you mean. You mean the short videos. And yes, it is underway. Expect something there shortly between the shorts and the reels. And I mean, it's just tons of things. But yeah, you're going to start seeing some more short form content from us. Okay, here is William on YouTube. William says, I saw your recent Tea Party speech. One of the women said this election was our last chance. What was she referring to? William, I don't know specifically what she was referring to, although I can tell you that I have seen a tremendous amount of sentiment out there that there are people that really believe that this cycle is going to be so pivotal. Probably, and I've heard this cycle, I've heard the next two cycles, but so crucial in the ability for us to gain our independence in a solid way, right? There is a sentiment out there that the federal government is so past the point of no return, and the losing side, the neo-Marxists and the globalists, sense that the end is near, and have given up all pretense of incrementalism. So I can only suspect, because again, I don't know specifically what she was talking about, but I think probably she was echoing that sentiment that I've heard from so many people right now, that this is a crucial and critical time in our history. And it's something that I've even said that I believe the next 100 years of Texas history are being written right now. And it's up to us to either write them or write that history or have it written for us. So, it is critical. I think it betrays an urgency. So, William, thank you so much for your question. Wish I could have been a little more specific, but since I didn't say it, I can't really speak to it very well. Okay. Also from YouTube, El Scorpio Perfecto. How did you connect with the North Mexico secession movement? That happened many years ago. Actually was the first contact. But they actually contacted us out of the blue many, many years ago. And like, hey, we're still around, or we're here. We didn't know that they were even existed. And I think at the time they had like a Facebook page, and that was about the extent of it. And amazingly enough, um, over the years, I mean, we have had dialogue off and on, but we really lost touch with them for quite some time. And I don't know if it was internal, if it was reorganization or whatever, but we were able to connect up again here recently, and it's amazing. We still share a lot of the same concerns. They are just as upset about illegal immigration as we are. They're sick and tired of having their industry sapped to the benefit of Mexico City, the federal government down there. And they were the first ones to remind everyone that the real name of Mexico is the United States of Mexico, and they behave just the same way as the United States of America. So, if you would like to find out now, we had Carlos on the panel, the Global Exit panel Monday night. If you would like to find out more about him, and connect with any of those speakers from either of the webinars, go to tnm.me/speakers, and all of their links are there, and you'll be able to connect with them yourself. But great folks. I literally was in a chat conversation right before the interview I did right before this with leaders from independence movements all over. We talk a lot, but specifically, we were talking with Alberta and MSPI down in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and they're having some great conversations over there, and just really interesting community of independence-minded folks that may not agree on a lot of, kind of minute policy issues, kind of down to that granular level. But at a fundamental level, we all agree in the right of self-determination. That they should be able to govern themselves. We should be able to govern ourselves. So it makes for great conversations. Okay, here's a question. Ultra Texan. Hey, Daniel, who would you want negotiating on behalf of the Republic of Texas? And would you want to be a part of that process? Man, that's a good question. Who would I want negotiating? Well, so there's obviously going to be multiple negotiations happening, right? So for those of you who have not sat through this before, understand that post-Texit vote, there are four things that have to be addressed: constitutional issues, statutory issues, international covenants, treaties, and agreements, and the negotiated issues with the federal government. So, there are going to be multiple negotiations going on, right? So you're looking at a full-blown negotiating team, not just for the negotiated issues with the federal government, but the international covenants, treaties, and agreements. I mean, it's going to be a massive team. Says, would you want to be a part of that process? I don't know. I have said time and time again that after doing this for so long, I fully intend, once this is all said and done, to go get a vacation, right? To do something for a bit that is not about Texas independence. Like, I don't know, sleep, go to a beach. I don't know. I don't know what that looks like, right? Because I have no aspirations for any of that sort of thing. But if I were asked to be a part of it, I will never turn down my country, right? And we also have to remember that the Texas Nationalist Movement as an organization is not solely fixated on the Texas issue, right? We're fixated on the political, cultural, and economic independence of Texas, right? Which those two are separate things. Texas is the process that gets us to independence, right? But it's not the only part of the process. And so, as we are committed to securing and protecting the political, cultural, and economic independence of the nation of Texas, the organization has probably an even more important job after Texas to ensure that we get a proper exit and that we never get back in this situation again, where we have to fight our way out, or work our way out, or wind up tied to some bureaucratic monstrosity in a capital that doesn't belong to us. So, there is a role for the organization after that. What role I play, I cannot say. Okay. Let's find one here. Okay, this is an interesting one. The TNM membership fee is considered a political contribution legally. At least it was when I first signed up. It shows up on public contributions websites. No, actually, membership is not a political contribution, right? When you join the organization, the Texas Nationalist Movement is a 501c4 social organization, and we do not have to report individual contributions. Now, if you donate to either of the political action committees, right, either of the PACs, we are bound by the Texas Election Code and campaign finance laws to report contributions to the PACs, to the TEC. But beyond that, we do not have to report individual contributions. And that's important for you guys because we want to protect you. I get out here and I jam my face out here, and it's not like where I live is a secret and my business is a secret, right? I'll take all those arrows, uh, but that's a choice that I make, and we believe that ultimately how public your support is entirely up to you. So, with those exceptions of making contributions to the PACs, all of our contribution records are held secure and confidential, and we do that for you. You get to make that determination. And our membership rolls are about, I mean, it is the biggest state secret. We would absolutely, absolutely go to court to protect those things, whatever it took, because those things are absolutely confidential, and we maintain a high level of security on it. So, if you're talking about membership fee, right, or donations, neither one of those go to the PAC, and so therefore are not reported to the Texas Ethics Commission. Now, we can't use those to support political candidates, but we can use them for our the efforts of the organization. So just bear that in mind. Okay, let's get down to it. I tell you what, let's pull one from email because I'm running short on time and I want to do this. Okay, Chris wants to know. He says, "Why do we even discuss party planks if our lieutenant governor is going to get up 15 minutes later and state that planks 33 and 225? Well, it's just not going to happen. I think uh, because the louder that we proclaim that those are the planks, the greater the divide there is between the politician and his party or her party. That's just the bottom line, right? So, plank 33, plank 225, uh, those things are entirely designed to bludgeon these people with. We said from the outset that the entire purpose of getting those planks on the platform was to provide additional leverage. Now, what individuals do with that leverage is entirely up to them. But as an organization, what we're going to do with that leverage is show that every time there is a divergence from the platform on those two planks, we're going to make a big deal out of it. And I'll tell you, if there is no respect for 33 and 225, I know people in the Republican Party right now that are TNM supporters that are already warming up the Rule 44 censure resolutions over these. And I would venture to say that perhaps Dan Patrick even committed a Rule 44 violation. I don't know that specifically. That would be for some minds that are not mine, that are more ingrained in the Republican Party. But I think it would be. I think that it is going to be a brouhaha, and it's not going to be just Dan Patrick. It's not just going to be our issue. It's going to be a whole host of issues related to the platform and the legislative priorities. And the Republicans they're going to start going after these guys. I think they're on a rhino hunt right now. So thanks for that, Chris. But remember, it's about leverage. Okay, Vicky. Vicky, thank you for your question. She says a friend questioned me about the very prominent U.S. military bases in Texas. What will be the status of those bases? I talk about it some in the book, and I believe there's an article on the website on at texitnow.org about the military bases. But ultimately, those military bases are federal reservations, and we would no longer be a part of the federal system. So that land would revert back to the state. Probably would continue to be used by a much larger and expanded Texas military department. And then, whatever the relationship is between Texas and the United States on the other side of this, if we're working together under a mutual defense compact, they could be joint bases. I mean, there's a lot of different scenarios, but we cover some of those on the website. I know it talks about it in the book as well. Let's see here. Oh, okay. This is a good follow-up question. Okay. This is from John. John says, given my suspicions about a recent, I guess, given my something about a recent event, if Texas has a mutual defense agreement with the U.S., we would not be expected to engage on the side of the U.S. if the U.S. starts it. Correct. I'm guessing you're probably talking about Nord Stream 2. That's the thing about it, right? So one of the things, and oddly enough, I was studying this a couple of weeks ago, and I'm readying something about this. But when we think about mutual defense pacts, obviously NATO comes to mind, but almost no one thinks about the mutual defense pact that we have with pretty much all of the countries in North, Central, and South America, right? It was essentially a mutual assistance treaty is what it is, but it has defense components dealing with attacks and defense and things of that nature. And we'll share some more information about that when I get that article ready. But essentially, what it talks about is that there is no you are not bound to an aggressor, right? So from a mutual defense pact standpoint, I don't know of a single mutual defense treaty that binds that mutual defense to an aggressor. So mutual defense compacts are typically defense. If you're attacked, we come to your assistance, we come to your aid. But if you're an aggressor, then there is no obligation that exists under those documents. So I think I understand where you're going with that. That's generally how it works. And you can look, there are plenty of mutual defense pacts out there, all of varying degrees of tightness. The parties have various obligations, but I don't know that Texas would ever sign a mutual defense compact with anyone that obligated us to come in on the side if they were an aggressor in a war. I just don't see that happening. All right. Let's look here. All right, here you go. Here's this one. Patrick McCoy, if you live in North Korea or Cuba, you cannot collect your Social Security. What would stop the U.S. government from just adding the free country of Texas to the list? I would not put it past them. It's an interesting question, but you have to look at the reality of it, right? So why are North Korea, Cuba, Syria, all those countries, oddly enough, that I listed at the beginning, talking about this issue that I'm running into with strife, right? So Cuba, Iran, North Korea, Syria, of course, they've got several regions there that broke away from Ukraine that are that are being contested right now. But why is that? Well, the reason being is those countries are on they're prescribed, right? They're essentially, as it says here, they're on sanctions lists. And so it really boils down primarily for the Social Security reason for banking, right? They're prohibited, they're sanctioned because they're state sponsors of terror, generally, right? Obviously, North Korea, because technically a state of war still exists, right? There's a ceasefire, but North Korea is on that list. I think Belarus may still be on that list. I can't remember, but they have them listed. They're under sanctions for either severe human rights abuses, right? Or as being foreign sponsors of terror, okay? So the fact of the matter is that they would have to justify to the people, right? Whatever states remain in the United States. So let's just pluck Texas out. You've got the 49 others. Now they have to go make the case to the rest of those people how the people of Texas exercising their right of self-government, right? We're not firing on Fort Sumter, right? We're not sending in suicide bombers. We're literally just going to the polls and we're voting on the question, should the state of Texas reassert its status as an independent nation? So now they've got to go justify to those people in those 49 other states as to how the mere act of voting for self-determination is the equivalent of being a state sponsor of terror, right? Because that's how is it that Texas having a vote is the equivalent of what North Korea has done or Cuba has done Syria has done, or Iran has done? They've got to go make that equivalency argument, and they got to do what they got to do, right? Ultimately, if that's what they want to do, that's fine. We overpay anywhere from 103 to 160 billion dollars annually into the federal system. So if they decided not to cover federal pension benefit payments, we got that covered. That's not going to be a problem for us. And we'll still have a surplus, right? We would still have enough to completely abolish property tax in Texas, 100%, and never bat an eye, right? However, I will just caution people on this. When they worry about the United States doing something ridiculously stupid like economic sanctions, you got to remember that's a two-way street, right? If the federal government were to sanction us, do you think that Texas would not return the favor? Do you think for a moment that Texas would not return the favor? How about if they don't pay the Social Security, if they don't pay out the federal pension benefits or return our Social Security trust funds, we just deduct that amount of money from the federal debt that would be our portion. And honestly, I believe that there's a good argument out there that we owe zero for the federal debt. But that's a whole other topic, right? Matter of fact, there's a phenomenal article about it on the Texian Partisan. You should go check that out. TexianPartisan.com. TexianPartisan.com. All right, folks, look, I am out of time and I have got to get back to work. So let's go ahead and wrap this up. Let me remind you, if you were not already a member of the Texas Nationalist Movement, we invite you to join us. Head over to tnm.me/join. That is tnm.me/join. Additionally, if you are not already in a local group, head over to tnm.me/local groups, or you can hit the local groups link on the menu of the website. And of course, we're always looking. The expectation is participation. If we're going to get this done, we need you. Head over to tnm.me/volunteer to become a volunteer today. If you have not already downloaded the TNM app, it is available in the Apple App Store or Google Play. You must already be a registered supporter to be able to access it. But once you do and you have your login, welcome to our very own social network and communication channels. It's just a phenomenal tool, and it's getting better and growing every day. We're just happy. And a reminder, the waning days of the Catalyst campaign, go make your contribution now, tnm.me/catalyst. All right. I am over time, but I'm going to wrap up. Before I do, I would like to wish my lovely bride, Kara, a very, very happy birthday. She's in the other room over there right now, running production on this on the day, but tomorrow is her birthday. And I can tell you right now that my life is so much better because of her. And so, Kara, happy birthday, and I love you very much. All right. That being said, let's go ahead and pull the plug on this edition of Late Night Coffee Talk. Thank you all so very much for participating tonight. Appreciate all of the messages. Apologize for not getting to all the questions, but there was a lot to cover tonight. And I will see you next time. And so I will leave you, as I do every week, with the words of Sam Houston when he said that Texas will again lift its head and stand among the nations. I believe that time is now. And the question is, will you stand with her? Good night, everyone.